Well, Henshaw here again, your friendly local constitutional coup. And another interesting subject that people don't think about much. But those of you, and there's a lot of you out there that have been victimized by what I call the just us system and all these damn state bar association attorneys. The good news is that it comes in multiple forms here, is that all these official actors, and instinctively you understand this, and you're going to learn exactly why, but they've all committed acts of treason to the U.S. Constitution, no matter what they did to you or how you did it, or how they did it, I should say, because you never had a chance to invoke your right to a judicial court from day one, not to mention your right to trial by jury according to the course of the common law. And there are no statutes of limitations on deceit, fraud, and treason, so it doesn't matter how far back we have to go in your case. That's irrelevant. And we can still get some big settlements there and maybe take some other actions. We'll see about that part. But send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And this is exactly what we need. And you don't go in there, by the way, using due process of law, civil rights, any of that bullshit. Because all they have is 42 U.S.C. 1983, another war enactment of the 39th Congress. And you get them there and they never read anything. You get a 12B6 dismissal of your case with prejudice to the cause. And once in a while, they'll threaten you with being fined for wasting the judicial economy of the court, which can't possibly be true because you're going to learn that the federal district court is not an Article 3 judicial court. And it hasn't been for a long time. At one time it was back in the day. Uh, and also back in the day, in the mid 19th century, for example, you could go right from a state judicial court, and we had states and we had judicial courts in that era, right directly to the U.S. Supreme Court on a common law writ of error. And all these Wall Street bankster types think they did away with that in the Judiciary Act of 1926, but they didn't. But I've developed even better ways to get to the U.S. Supreme Court and on the express train if we have to do it, as you will learn. Send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And we have them by the balls here because there's nothing else. Among other things, what you will learn is that you can fill out a citizen's arrest affidavit. I have a template form of one of those that comes with my constitutional defense document packet. And you get it into the hands of the right person, which today looks like the U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, and I'll be talking more about that later. She would either have a discretionless ministerial duty to order the U.S. Marshal to arrest the perps that we charge with treason, or even easier right now, and we'll have to live with it for a little while, if she picks up the phone and calls them and tells them to take care of business, make the case go away, destroy all the official records, and oh, by the way, get your checkbooks out while you're doing it. That's what needs to work here, and it will. I'm convinced all of it will, because Trump knows with these executive orders, and day one, he issued his first one, the executive order on birthright citizenship. And he knows as well as I do, and the current justices know, that emanates from Section 1 of the non-existent 14th Amendment, and that in any case in which you're involved, the plaintiff and the other side, no matter who it is, would have the burden of proof on jurisdiction and venue of the trial court, even if you didn't challenge it. To learn more about that, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And it's really astounding. And even if the record doesn't exist, you're going to find out it does constructively exist and would have existed if you got taught anything in the mandatory public education system about your creator endowed rights secured by the Constitution, and or you could have gotten effective assistance to counsel from a state bar association attorney, who I also identify as doing jerk-off Esquire, title of nobility, unregistered foreign agent of the City of London, if not Vatican City. And attorneys, with the exception of Jerome Daly, I've never heard of one that will even understand these issues, let alone attempt to do it. They have massive, irreconcilable conflicts of interest. But getting my materials and learning from me, we can do it ourselves, and we probably won't even have to file any cases at all. That's the really good news about it. So to learn more, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. And remember, it doesn't matter how long ago this happened. There are going to be some responsible parties, even if it turns out to be what we can prove is the office of the federal insular territorial governor, who has this sworn duty to see the laws are faithfully executed. And that recently has been a major hot spot with the current justices of the U.S. Supreme Court. They know exactly what I'm talking about here and why. So we have remedies, and they still exist. And we would love to get to see, a common law jury, which I'm never going to be allowed to do. Because if I talk to them like I'm talking to you, they're going to understand very quickly who the hell knows the law, who cares about it, who's passionate about it, and who wants to help them, their children, and their posterity. They won't even have to go into the back room to deliberate. Other side simply can't roll the loaded dice because not only you have them, but you may have all 36 rolls. That's how good of a job those racist framers did back in the day. And they ordained and established this Constitution to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Not Chase Bank, not IBM, not Microsoft. We own the place and we should start acting like it. And when you do that, that's when things are going to start to change. And yeah, I was as ignorant as they come, by the way, back in the day when I got out of high school. Much better education in a lot of different ways then, but not in the areas I'm talking about now. But you can learn it, you can teach your kids, your posterity. That's a priceless gift. So they won't have to go through all this nonsense. And with the Supreme Court we have, and that we're going to have in the next term, if I'm reading the cards correctly here, we're going to have a lot of younger justices on the court when they come back. And those justices, by the way, depending on how quickly they get confirmed, could even take action over the summer. And yes, the court can do that. They're off on summer vacation. But if they see a reason to invoke their emergency jurisdiction, they can do that. They won't be in Washington, D.C. almost certainly like they would normally be if they were in their regularly scheduled, term. But they can act. And we'll see how that part plays out. That we don't know. What we do know is we're right, they're wrong on the other side. Get over it. And oh, by the way, get your checkbook out and be damn lucky that's all you're doing here. Because you're going to learn, you get my document packets, right in those packets is a template draft of a citizen's arrest affidavit for treason. And that's what they've done, and that's the Supreme Court of the United States saying. Their bosses are agents. It's called Cohen v. Virginia, 6 Wheaton, 264, 1821. Oh, that's old law. They don't use that anymore. The hell they don't. These current justices know exactly what I'm talking about. And what did they say in Cohen? There's a lot of great quotes in that case, as you will learn. The relevant one here is where they said that the court must exercise jurisdiction if it hasn't. It can't exercise jurisdiction if it doesn't. So one or the other is treason to the Constitution. And that's what we want to take advantage of and make a long overdue invocation of our rights secured by the Constitution. And I believe, by the way, that includes inhabitants of states and inhabitants of territories. So even though Africans and Asians are not part of the sovereign body politic, which doesn't in any event exist today, nothing remotely like that exists today, but they would have rights to do the same thing. I'm reasonably sure I'll be on good ground here with the current justices we have on the Supreme Court and the younger ones to follow. They're going to understand exactly what we're doing and why. That's why it's so exciting, this work. I just wish I had gotten into that straight out of high school for crying out loud, but it didn't happen that way. Better late than never. But that said, you're going to learn a lot of good things with my modestly priced constitutional defense document packet. So send me an email, youwinningcourt@gmail.com. Subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The sooner we start taking action, the quicker we make these bastards go away and we get our lives and our rights back. Thank you.